Before I start, it's crazy because it says the first book of Moses called Genesis, but like most people assume somehow this is the book of King James or something. Like King James wrote any.
A lot of people, for a long time, I thought I didn't know no better. But let me tell you, going to that church, effing people up mentally.
Yeah, I know.
Especially when their mind is not open to be corrected and to learn and to make. I'm so excited to even talk. Breathe. It will fuck them up mentally. And then you got some people that are so weak-minded, and because the way they were brought up, they won't step away from that. It's like, oh no, my great-grandmother, my great-great-great-great-grandmother, but they all went for all the wrong reasons. They didn't know.
I see that with these camps too. Like it's, from what I've seen in like a discussion versus what is in the comments, like some people have sense where they know certain doctrines is just camp doctrines, but it's the unity or the brotherhood, where it's like I'll just join,
Like those fraternities.
it's just more so brotherhood than anything, but a lot of people think that King James, like, let me do this. Nowhere in here, you see here, right here, nowhere in here do you see anything having to do anything with King James. Not a damn thing. And that's what I'm saying. Most people don't know the difference between writing a book, which is Moses wrote this book, Genesis. People don't know the difference between Moses writing this book in Hebrew a long time ago, having nothing to do with Europeans, and King James way later on, he's translating what Moses wrote. And all these other men here, you see all these, well, in Ruth, she's a female, but you see all these men, and I'm gonna say men and women here, Esther's down here, you see all these different men and women, you see their names, Samuel, you see Nehemiah, Esther, Job, David had his books, Isaiah, Jeremiah. You see all these different, even though it's in the English transliteration, it's not Isaiah, it's Yashayawa, but nonetheless, just because this is common sense when you actually open something and investigate it. Most people will just spread some bullshit because it's the popular thing being said. Dumb as hell, dumber than a goddamn doorknob for doing that, because like that's what females do when they do that coffee shop meeting shit.
And I remember Bishop Hearn, I don't know how it came up. I'm trying to remember how it came up. And we started doing Bible study on Wednesday. We actually studied the book of the Bible, because a lot of people didn't even know what the book of the Bible was.
I don't know what you mean.
So like the name, the book of the Bible.
They
didn't even know where the books were. I mean, for a long time I didn't know. With me, it was like certain books I knew exactly where to go to find it, and certain books I had to think about.
You just made me think of this too, because somebody asked the dumbass question of who wrote the Bible. That's a dumbass question, because it's, for one, you see that each person who contributed to their personal what they went through or prophesy, you see them. So to ask the question is if it's a one-man name, because they think they have King, because they have King James in their mind. They think that one man sat down and wrote a book like today somebody would write a book and they're the author of a random book that they like TD Snakes and Creflo Dollar. Yeah. It's like people
like Evan, they take to that shit.
But that's what I'm saying. People tend to think that when they ask that question that they have some sort of leverage on, like, oh, I think I know something because I think King James wrote it. But that's an idiot that's never opened it up and sees all of this info. Like, Job only wrote Job. I do this, boom, the book of Job, the book of King James. And that, you see, that's the lack of common sense that a lot of dumb niggas have. Is I'm just gonna regurgitate shit with zero. I don't know a goddamn thing, but I'm gonna speak as if I do. Where just doing something so simple shuts down. You see what I'm saying? Let's see who wrote Isaiah. The book of King James? Oh no, the book of the prophet Isaiah. So you mean to tell me King James just made up a bunch? And it's just like, how do people? Where are you getting King James from this shit? But then when you go to the very top, let me do this. When you do this, the King James version of in its translation with Apocrypha. So there's a preface. Like, nobody, it's like investigating or reading something is too much work for niggas. It takes you to that point where if you want to hide something from a nigga, what does that say? They put it in a book. Niggas is not gonna read no books and find something out.
That was William. William and Ralph was in the kitchen, and there's in the gap. They put the cabinets up, and then I said, no, it wasn't Ralph. That was Jesus. I said, no, leave it right there, because I can hide stuff up there. If a robber come in, they ain't gonna know to look up there.
Well, you just advertising it. So here we are in Genesis. You know, I guess this is wrong. This is really supposed to be the book of King James, you know, called Genesis. Maybe this is wrong. I just had to throw that jab. So that's just how dumb niggas are. But we're gonna cover day one. I know we kind of got into it, but with all other stuff. So let's get into it. So in the beginning, God. King James. Let me stop. Oh shit, people just so retarded. Created the heaven and the earth. So that's what we're about to do and cover the creation of the heaven. This is the sentence by sentence breakdown. Okay, I don't even want to say a breakdown because that's starting to become like cliche, you know, niggas giving breakdowns, but it's just their opinions. This is not my opinion. So it says, and the earth was without form and void. Okay, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. This Spirit of God, as we see in Revelation, that's the 7 spirits of Elohim. That's where you get into the Elohim, because this God this is King James's translation in the English, the word God. Originally it's Elohim or Elohim or Allah, or however you want to transliterate it. But at the end of the day, it's a plural meaning God. Okay, does it mean that there's more than one God? No, it's the 7 spirits plural of Elohim. This is very, very simple. Moved upon the face of the waters. So these 7 angels, the Spirit of God, moved upon the face of the waters. Okay, now, and God, this God here, the Elohim, said, let there be light. Now, from here to here, what was created first?
The word said.
Right. Because God then created words which spoke out the command to let there be light. And there was light, letting you know, again, God means power. If you say that there is no God, then you don't believe in power. This is just the highest power. There's levels to it, like Meek Millie said. No Diddy. Like Meek Millie said, there's levels to it. So Some people have more power than other people. That's common sense. So when people apply this to the Bible and the Most High, it's like they lose all sense, which is common sense. So the word was created prior to this light, because it's literally directly before it. God said, now let's get some understanding on this. Very, very simple. So the gospel according to King James. Okay, all right. So John 1:1. In the beginning, this is the same damn beginning that we just left from, was the word. This is the word that was said, where it said, let there be light. This is that word, capital W, a specific word. And the word was with God, of course, because God spoke the word, because he said it, the Alahayim. That means power. This is not some big white dude throwing lightning bolts like all these different cultures created, okay? This is the Alahayim 7 angels, okay? And again, that's as it is written in the book of Revelation. Oh, I mean King James. Nah. And the word was God, okay? Now, because it came from God, it says the same was in the beginning with God, because it came from God. The word, yes, was in the beginning, but it's not saying like the word itself is God. It came from God. Did we not read that? But Christians lose all focus of that because they hate precepts, especially a precept that comes from the law. They hate that damn law. So we scroll down some. This same word that we saw in verse 1 was made then flesh. This is where you get, the so-called Jesus. Okay, so-called. She never had a son named G. That's like somebody coming to you saying, "Hey, Renell, your son Jose over there, woody woo woo woo." You be like, "Who?" Because you never had a son named Jose. It's just like Mary. She never had a son named Jesus. She look at you cross-eyed and crazy. So we're going to say so-called Jesus. And the word was made flesh. So-called Jesus never existed in the beginning. The word existed in the beginning. Okay? That word is what then Jesus, who was flesh, was talking about. That's why you see the word was made flesh. It's not just Jesus was in the beginning. That would be incorrect, because people teach that, but I'm showing that this word in the beginning was with God. Okay, it's the mouthpiece, the words, it's the rays that come from the sun. Okay, the rays are not the sun, but that's what this is showing you, that they are one. Okay, not the same thing, type one, but one accord. So let's get back to Genesis. I wanted to show that as it relates to the word. So now here we are back in the book of King James, Genesis. So he got to make fun of people, but all right. So this word that was said was the first creation prior to the light, and there was light, and God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Let's see. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So this light is being called capital D day, and the darkness is called capital N night. Now, we're only going to cover day 1 today. However, I do need to touch on day 4, and here's why. Because you have those people that love to look for so-called Bible contradictions. So we're going to go to verse 16. It says, and God made, this is day 4, 2 great lights. Okay, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. This is talking about the sun and the moon. Okay, so People that love what they think is a contradiction would see this light luminaries being created day 4, and they would say, hey man, that's a goddamn contradiction. King James is white, man, he full of shit, because right here he created the light in the, you see what I'm saying? It was in day 1. So what is a contradiction? Man, to hell with the Bible. That's a dumbass nigga. So this capital D day and a capital N night is specifics. It's not talking about physical light and day. Let's get some understanding. So here we are in Isaiah 42 verse 6. It says, and I, King James, have called, my fault, and I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness. Key word is righteousness. And will hold your hand and will keep you and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. Okay, so this is that light, that righteousness. This is what's shining, quote unquote. Keep that in mind too. That's another place we're going to go to. This light is not literal physical light. It's righteousness, which is in connection with this covenant of the people. This is talking about Israel, because the covenants only pertain to Israel. So to open the blind eye, this is not Ray Charles type of blind. This is not Stevie Wonder type of blind. This is just not being able to see things, lacking wisdom. So you can't, you know, you seem to not understand how a car works because you don't know mechanics. You can't see it. You just get in, turn the key, gas, maybe change the oil, whatever. But you don't see how it works because you're blind to the fact of how it actually functions. You just know how to use it. Okay? That's because you lack wisdom. This is not physical blindness. This is like a spiritual type of blindness. Okay? It's not magic. It's not making literal Ray Charles see. No. It says to bring out the prisoners. Bring out the prisoners from the prison, and let them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Notice how this darkness is in connection with prison. It's a lot of knucklehead niggas in prison because they lack that light, the wisdom on how to be functional members in society. Now, this is in the context that you actually did something to be in prison, because we know nowadays you can just be accused of something and get locked up. So but this is our first area in Isaiah. And so here also in Isaiah 49 and 6 it says, and he said it is a light thing. We're dealing with that day 1 creation light versus day 4 physical light. It shall be a light thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles. So again, this light is directed towards the preserved Israelites and unpreserved Israelites, which were called Gentiles. So this light again is not, what good is a physical light gonna do? Oh, you turn the light bulb on. Matter of fact, that's where they get that from in them cartoons. I got an idea. Well, it's, you got smart. You see that connection? It's not, that's physical light compared to wisdom, spiritual light. I got an idea. You feel me? That's what it is. I will give you for light. It's wisdom. The Most High don't deal with dummies. He'll allow you to be dumb and to show that he's raising you up, like we just saw, like we see right here, to raise you up. You see what I'm saying? To flex or to show his power. So we got one more place I want to go to. So even right here in the book of Revelation 21, let's go to 21 and 23. And the city had no need of the sun. This is the luminary created in day 4 creation. There's no need for the sun or the moon. These are those 2 great lights we saw in day 4. It says to shine in it. Keyword shine. Why? Because the glory of God. This is where you get like again wisdom. This type of light is lighting it. This is that light, the day 1 light, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Booyah. Booyah. And this is Lamb with a capital L. You gotta pay attention to things like that, or else you be thinking, it's a contradiction. The day 1 light versus the day 4 light is 2 different lights. One's physical, one's like essentially spiritual. So let's get back to Genesis 1. Again, it's through the precepts you get understanding. Okay, this light is day, this darkness is night. It has nothing to do with physical. That would be right here in day 4, 4th day. Lesser light to rule the night, greater light to rule the day. This has nothing to do. So I'm glad I'm gonna wrap up with this. So at the time this was actually written, obviously nobody was there to write it as it happened. This was way after the fact that it happened. The writer in the language Hebrew is going to use things in nature to then write. So of course, if light and day exists, I'm going to use that to show how somebody's going to be in darkness and have light in the spiritual context. Because it takes wisdom to create, boom, all of this. So of course, as the first probably writer of this way back then, I'm going to use what's around me. Just like you see a parable of people being the green grass springing up towards the heavens. Like you see that parable. It's not saying that people literally are grass. Same thing with the serpent. Is using a serpent to show how somebody is manipulative, deceptive. It's just like calling a nigga a rat. Use a snitch. It's not saying, man, that nigga, he had whiskers and it came out to here and a long tail and some big ass ears. No, but that's the lack of understanding that these churches tend to, because they really don't know. But it's very imperative that you really use precepts, because that's the only way you're gonna understand this. Like there's more I could have went to, but then that would be overkill. This light is dealing with like wisdom, basically right and wrong, declared from the beginning. This is the beginning. Because I'm serious, people think that they have contradictions so hard when they come to this day 4. I've seen a prideful, ignorant nigga try to do that. But then it's like you have to get understanding throughout the books, plural. Right. That's why I went to Isaiah and Revelation. I could have went to even more, but it's all going to say the same thing. Okay, so I think that's it. I covered that so that covers day 1. If anybody has anything to say, drop it in the comments. So that's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.